programs. Administered shortly after birth, these vaccines offer crucial early life protection when infants are at their most vulnerable stage of development. Honorable Speaker, recent reports indicate that 12 out of 47 counties in the country have completely exhausted the stocks of key vaccines, particularly tuberculosis, BCG, and polio vaccines, is therefore alarming. Even more concerning is a statement issued on 6 June 2025. The PS, the Principal Secretary for the State Department for Medical Services, warning that the national stockpile of the BCG and polio vaccines were projected to last for only 2 weeks, while the rotavirus vaccine will run out within a month. The resultant delays in administration of these critical vaccines can leave children unprotected, significantly exposing them to the risk of severe illness, long-term disability, or premature death. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health on the following: the immediate measures the Ministry of Health is taking to address the current shortage of polio and BCG vaccines in the country, including the specific timelines, the logistical arrangements for quick distribution of the vaccines across all counties, including plans to reach remote and regions that face logistical barriers, a report on coordination between the Ministry of Health and National Treasury to secure timely disbursements of funds for vaccine procurement through Gavi Kenya, and the steps taken to meet financial commitments to Gavi Kenya to avert future disruptions. And finally, the long-term strategies put in place to strengthen the national vaccine supply chain so as to build resilience against future disruptions in vaccine availability. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mwenje. Dr. Nyikal, before you tell us when you can bring the statement, when you brought me this statement yesterday, I felt alarmed because the BCG vaccinations are as old as all of you here. There is none of you who doesn't have a mark on your arms of BCG vaccination. So I did pick up the phone and call the PS for Health, Dr. Oluga. He confirmed that there was a shortage, but that the vaccines had arrived at JKIA and they will be distributed immediately to all hospitals, because I found this not only alarming but dangerous for the country. And we thank you for bringing the request. Dr. Nyikal, in view of the importance of this, I direct you to bring a response on Tuesday next week. I'll not give you the luxury of 2 weeks. And your response should not just be to tell us that vaccines have landed in the country, but the level of distribution to each and every health facility in the country, because children are born in every corner of this country and they are entitled as of right under the Constitution to these important vaccines.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'm also aware of this, and I made the same inquiry you did, and I say that we'll get it in on Tuesday. So I'll make an effort to contact the CS and get the report by Tuesday.
Go beyond telling us that the vaccines have arrived. Tell us the manner and efficacy of distribution to all areas of need.
Understood.
Yes, thank you. On the same? Yes, Oundo.
Is it also possible, Speaker, the chair can also get an assurance from the State Department that such shortage and lack of the vaccine is not going to happen in this country in the foreseeable future, to avoid putting our children under peril? Thank you, Chair. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Gachagua, on the same?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to request that as the chair gives that statement, he also addresses the statement on the issue of shortage of blood bags and reagents that has also been causing issue of blood shortage in the country, because it has taken a bit of time before he gives us that feedback.
you
Honorable
request
Speaker.
for-
Yes, I did, and you
Yes.
directed that it be provided here in the House, but the chair has not done so as per your direction. And there's also another issue on the issue of ICU payments, the issue of boosting from 4,000 to 28,000 on SHA, which was raised here by the CS when he was here. He was also directed to also give us feedback on the same. Honorable Speaker, those two issues remain unanswered.
So that we don't convolute this, Chairman, I'm sure you gave undertakings to deliver statements on those two issues, on blood bags and the ICU payments. Go and dust out those statements. You can give them on Wednesday, but Tuesday is about BCG. Thank you. Next, Titus Hamala, Lurambi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44, Section 2 and C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding expansion of the Kakamega-Mumias Road and the adjoining feeder roads. Honorable Speaker, the Kakamega-Mumias Road is a vital transport network in Western Kenya, connecting Kakamega County to Vihiga County, Nandi County, Kisumu County, Bungoma County, and Busia County, through which the road ultimately links to the Busia border. The road also contributes to local economics, facilitating regional trade, connecting key commercial towns in the region, and facilitating transportation from transportation of farm produce, particularly sugarcane, to the country's major sugar companies, namely Mumias Sugar Company and West Kenya Sugar Companies, including Butali Sugar Company. Despite the significance of the Kakamega-Mumias Road, it has never been expanded to meet the increasing traffic demand since it was tarmacked many years ago when I was in primary school. Honorable Speaker, the narrowness of the Kakamega-Mumias Road, coupled with the deplorable conditions, especially along the areas, namely Mumuyukwe, Maondo, Eshisiru Center, Stendumogo, and Shibuli section, has been contributing to fatal accidents involving sugarcane tractors and trailers, motorists, including motorcyclists and pedestrians. Further, various feeder roads to the Kakamega-Mumias Road, particularly the Eshisiru Esumeya Bushiri Road, classified Road C1, is impassable. Of critical concern is the Isasala Bridge along the road, which has partially collapsed but remains in active use, posing a serious risk to motorists and lives. There is an urgent need to expand the Kakamega-Mumias Road and upgrade its key feeder roads, particularly the Eshisiru Esumeya Bushiri Road, classified Road 1, including restoration of the collapsing Isasala Bridge so as to improve safety and support seamless economic growth in the region. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, the plans by the Ministry of Roads and Transport and the Kenya National Highways Authority to expand the Kakamega-Mumias Road and fully recarpet the surface instead of the periodic patchwork maintenance works that yields low value for public funds. And number 2, the immediate interventions by the Kenya Rural Roads Authority, KERA, to upgrade the Eshisiru Esumeya Bushiri Road, classified Road C1, and reconstruct the collapsed Isasala Bridge along the said road, including financing mechanisms and the projected timelines. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, Roads and Transport. GK, when can you bring a response?
In 2 weeks, Honorable Speaker, we will avail the statement, the response.
Weeks?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Joseph Gitari, member Kirinyaga Central. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request for statement regarding the status of rehabilitation of roads in Kagumo Town, Kirinyaga Central constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the status of rehabilitation of the roads in Kagumo Town in Kirinyaga Central constituency. Honorable Speaker, the road in Kagumo Town, especially Gateway and Trojan area in Kirinyaga Central constituency, experience high volume of traffic due to tea transportation, health services, activities, and market centers located within the said area. As a result, there is a need of rehabilitation of the roads within the area, including installation of speed bumps and zebra crossing to ensure the safety of residents and road users. This will prevent road accidents and enhance economic growth in the area. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on measures being put in place to rehabilitate the poor roads and install speed bumps and zebra crossings on the roads around Gateway Trojan area in Kagumo Town, Kirinyaga Central constituency. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
DK, when can you bring a response?
Honorable Speaker, in about 2 to 3 weeks, should
2
be able
weeks.
to respond.
We'll give you 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Honorable members, allow me to acknowledge the following. In the Speaker's Gallery, we have Njiri School. Is it called Njiri or Njiris? Njiri. Njiris. Njiri School from Kigumo, Moranga. In the public gallery, we have Nyabondo Boys Junior from Nyakach, Kisumu, and Narok High School from Narok North, Narok. On my behalf and behalf of the House, we welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. Member for Kigumo has asked me to welcome Njiri School. You can do so on behalf of all your colleagues from whose jurisdictions we have schools. Go ahead. Give the honorable.
All right, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to welcome Jiri and Honorable Speaker, because that school is named after the senior chief, Jiri Wakaraja. That's why it was renamed to Jiri. That is his actual name. So I want to welcome them to Parliament and all the other schools that are attending this session. I'd like them to be inspired so that they can aspire to be members, they can aspire to be great members of this country once they see the session and the people who are contributing and the debate that goes on here. I also want to wish them well as they travel back to school and all the schools here on behalf of Parliament and members of Parliament. Asante, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Bwana Munyoro. Responses from education. Is the chair education here? To respond to a request by Honorable Robert Mbui. Education. Rebecca, are you ready? Go ahead. Give Honorable Tonkei the mic. There's one next to you. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have a statement to the answer question which I was asked by Honorable Mbui, who actually attended the meeting where the CS was summoned. Honorable Speaker, the question was on the status of the disbursement of capitation funds to schools. Honorable Speaker, the question has 4 components, which we wish to respond to as follows. a report on the status of disbursements of capitation funds to public schools for the first term of 2025, including the total amount of currently owed to schools due to delay in disbursements of funds. Honorable Speaker, every enrolled learner in public primary schools is entitled to receive a total of Kenya shilling 1,420 per year. The funds are disbursed to schools at the beginning of every term through two bank accounts as summarized below. Term and percentages, account 1 and account 2, 50% in term 1, which is 365, and 50, 344.50. 30% in term 2, 219.30 in account 1, and account 2, 206.70. 20% in term 3, which is 146.20, and account 2, 137.80. Total is 731.00, and account 2, 689.00. Out of account 1, Kenya shilling 75 per learner was deducted and sent to the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development for purchase of textbooks. Out of account 2, Kenya shilling 20 per learner was deducted for co-curricular activities. For term 1 of 2025, the ministry disbursed 4,127,304.81 shillings for a total of 5,812,164 learners. This was made up of Kenya shilling 1,688,433,642 for account 1, and Kenya shilling 1,886,676 and 099 for account 2. There is no money owed to schools for term 1. All the money was disbursed in January 2025. Honorable Speaker, the approved rate of capitation for junior schools is Kenya shilling 15,043 per learner per year. For term 1 of 2025, Kenya shilling 15,323,832,631.92 was disbursed for 2,994,201 learners in 20,350 junior schools across the country. This amount is 50% of the annual capitation due to the schools. The entire amount was disbursed in January 2025. Honorable Speaker, at the secondary school level, the approved rate of capitation is Kenya shilling 22,244 per learner per year. For term 1 of 2025, the ministry disbursed a total of Kenya shilling 28,824,649,743.76 for 3,268,616 learners across 9,513 schools. Each learner received Kenya shilling 8,816.61. The disbursement was 50% of the budgeted amount in the printed estimates. This was done in two tranches. The first Kenya shilling 14,412,324,871.88 was sent in January 2025, with the second of the same amount sent in March 2025. It is important to note that the allocation of Kenya shilling 28,824,649,743.76 reflects a budgetary deficit of Kenya shilling 7,528,897,408.24. The resource requirement at the approved rate of capitation is Kenya shilling 36,100,000,000 353,547.152. The second part of the question is the capitation amount allocated per child for the examinations and activity fees for primary and secondary schools. Honorable Speaker, no part of the capitation is allocated for national examinations. National examinations are funded independent of capitation from the budget allocated to the National Examination Council. In primary schools, the capitation amount allocated for co-curricular activities is Kenya shilling 76.44 per learner per year. Out of this, Honorable Speaker, Kenya shilling 40 is retained at the headquarters to be used in running co-curricular activities at the national level, while 36.44 is sent directly to the schools. In junior schools, Kenya shilling 700 has been allocated to curricular activities and shilling 647 for internal assessment per learner per year. For secondary schools, the capitation allocated per learner for activities fee in term 1 of 2025 or Kenya shilling 525. The allocation for teaching and learning materials was Kenya shilling 1,643. The allocation for internal examination is 11% of the sum provided for tuition. Honorable Speaker, the third part of the question was the measures being taken by the Ministry of Education to ensure that disbursement of capitation fund is timely. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry has taken steps to ensure timely disbursement of capitation to schools. From the beginning of the year 2023-2024 financial year, capitation disbursements are done on a timely basis in the ratio of 50 to 30 to 20 for term 1, term 2, and term 3 respectively. This was a change from the previous practice under which disbursements were done on a quarterly basis without reference to the school terms. The ministry requests for funds from the exchequer.
How much more to go, Rebecca? Too long.
Yeah, I'm almost done, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, the ministry requests for funds at least 3 weeks before schools open. And for funds, for example, as requested on 25th, 2025, once the ministry receives the funds, and all that is explained in the statement. Honorable Speaker, there is also the existence of any planned review to the amount of capitation funds allocated per child in light of the current harsh economic conditions. Honorable Speaker, and this, the committee is aware of this, and the entire House is aware of this, that there is need to change the current allocation as the conditions of economic conditions have changed, so there is need to review this. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the ministry urges the committee to support the ministry ensuring that the budgetary allocation is adequate as approved rates of capitation. That is the National Assembly is created for that. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Robert Mbui, she says you also attended a meeting with the committee and the minister?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I did.
Okay.
And I was extremely disappointed, Mr. Speaker, because there were no solutions to the problems that are facing our children. You know, any nation that doesn't take education of its children seriously is actually on the wrong trajectory. And Mr. Speaker, you remember even our forefathers actually identified ignorance as one of the enemies of development and the future. Now, Mr. Speaker, the reason I was raising this matter of capitation was to establish whether it is enough for the education of our children. Mr. Speaker, 1,420 shillings per primary school child is what is being offered currently. And Mr. Speaker, that money is supposed to cater for all the activities that go into education. It's supposed to deal with internal examinations. It's supposed to deal with things to do with sports. It's supposed to deal with drama. It's supposed to deal with music. And Mr. Speaker, it really wasn't enough. Now, Mr. Speaker, I was hoping that the CS would have been able to provide a solution. And I was thinking that one of the things that is facing as a problem, Mr. Speaker, is that education as per the Basic Education Act and as per the Constitution of Kenya is free. Basic education is meant to be free. We also even amended the law and made exams also free. So, Mr. Speaker, I wanted him to give us a solution because the Act says that the principals and the head teachers in Kenya cannot be able to levy any charge to the parents. But Mr. Speaker, every single school in Kenya, actually parents are still paying. Now, unless we come up with a policy to address this matter, what will happen is that some schools will ask for 100, others 200, others 300, others 400 and more. So, Mr. Speaker, a policy would help us to have a standardized amount that is charged for every parent, so that if we cannot afford it, then we make it fair. So, Mr. Speaker, I just feel that we need better answers, and we need a solution to this problem.
Tongai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It's true that Honorable Mbui was he attended the committee meeting where the CS was. And we all agree that, Honorable Speaker, it is this House that appropriates money for schools. And we all agree that the CS has no solution to this, but the House has a solution of dispersing funds to the ministry so that they can give our schools money. Because, you know, Honorable Speaker, I was in record asking the CS, how free is education in Kenya? And Honorable Speaker, because, you know, every time our parents are asked to pay money, it's because the CS has no way to give, he has no money by himself. The parents and the principals need the schools to run. Honorable Speaker, looking at his question, it is true that the questions that were asked were partly answered. But if we could also allocate money for them to be able to give the money that is intended to be given for disbursement, then, Honorable Mbui, I think we'd be in a better position.
Yes, Mwenje.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the same issue, one of the concerns that we have, Honorable Speaker, is that students who are registered on NEMIS, the money comes based on the number of students registered on NEMIS. There's been an intentional deregistration of students on NEMIS so that the ministry sends less money to the schools. Honorable Speaker, one of my schools in Ojwang Primary, just give an example, was sent 59,000, a school that has 3,000 students. How do you send 59,000 as capitation? Honorable Speaker, we also need the Ministry of Education to be clear. There is this notion that they send half the amount and retain the other half. Can they clarify that position so that school heads can understand that this is the amount that is coming? That if they say they are giving 15,000 to JSS students, you're only going to send 7,500 and the rest you're going to retain. Make that clear rather than school heads expecting the full 15,000, which will never come. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Bowen first, then Owen. Bowen, not Owen.
You know, Mr. Speaker, Owen took over my name. Mr. Speaker, in the last supplementary, the chair of education is on record in this House. There was an allocation of 100 million Kenya shillings, if you check in our records, in the supplementary too. And Mr. Speaker, the chair of education told us then that the money was going towards upgrading the NEMIS to make sure that all the students in this country are captured properly so that capitation money, when they are sending from the ministry, they are sending from a point of information and the point of, based on the numbers of students in every school. So it is proper if the chair of education can tell us whether that money was utilized to upgrade the NEMIS and whether the NEMIS is actually serving the Ministry of Education well in terms of recording the number of students per school and also giving track the capitation we are giving to our schools.
Tongai. Let's hear Owen Bayer first. Tongai, not those.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to join, I would like to join Robert Mbui on this matter. Honorable Speaker, I would like to request you to ask the Wamboka-led committee to investigate schools, especially the PAC committee led by Wamboka, to investigate schools, because in my constituency, I have this problem. Money is sent to schools. Immediately that money lands there, a letter comes in from the sub-county education officer saying that now send us this amount of money for this purpose, per student 10 shillings or 5 shillings. after some time, another letter comes from the county education office saying, send us 10 shillings per student for every school for games. When the students want to go for games, parents are asked to bring money so that the students can be facilitated to go for games. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, the issue of NEMIS. I have a school that has 1,000 students, but the ministry sends money for only 500 students. You ask, why haven't the other students been given? They will tell you they don't have birth certificate. Honorable Speaker, if you remember, I brought this matter here in this chamber, and the minister then said, no birth certificates will be required. Students who do not have birth certificate by virtue of the fact that they were not provided for them are denied an opportunity to access education, and they are sent away, they are sent home, just because they don't have a birth certificate. They are told, bring in money. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to examination, if you ask the Ministry of Education, have you sent money for exams? The ministry will say we have sent money per student for exams. The people in the education sector will go and get a person who provides exams at an exorbitant price, and they come back and tell the head teachers, tell each of your students to give money, and the students are sent home to go and collect money for exams. Honorable Speaker, unless this parliament takes a decisive step and requests a special audit, a forensic audit in these schools and the education offices in the counties, we will never get an answer and our students will suffer. Honorable Speaker, what the minister will say here in Nairobi is different from what is on the ground. Parliament must go down, investigate schools. How come Ministry of Education runs some special accounts? You know, they open accounts where they say, KEPSHA, for example, Kenya Primary School Heads Association, are given 10 shillings per student, and that money is sent to a KEPSHA account, and they sit down and share that money among officials of KEPSHA and officials of the ministry at the county levels. Honorable Speaker, this is what happens, and that's why our kids keep on being sent home, so that they go collect money to boost certain kitties in schools. Honorable Speaker, we need to come to the end of this by ensuring that we investigate per county, per constituency, per sub-county, Honorable Speaker, so that the truth comes out. Otherwise, our children will continue to be sent home for exams, for sports, for PTA, for things that are mundane, they are not important to the education of the child. Honorable Speaker, I feel very pained about this because I see every time happening to schools. We must bring a stop. Money sent by government to schools must be used for what it was sent for, not to enrich education officers in the counties and head teachers and other officials. Honorable Speaker.
Tongay, you've heard that?
I have heard it, Honorable Speaker.
What's your response?
Honorable Speaker, you know, for the not examination, the one for activity fee, we agreed with the CS that it's time they review the percentages they are sending to schools. Because, you know, leaving 40 shillings here at the headquarters and giving out around 10 shillings to the students at the lower level, Honorable Speaker, that money is too little. And, you know, as students go upward, they are fewer than when they are beginning their activities down there. Honorable Speaker, I still request that this House allocates funds to the Ministry of Education, because the principals and the head teachers have no problem. The problem is the money they are given. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Tongay, you can't ask for more when the little you are getting is being applied badly. Have you heard what Owen Baya is saying?
I have heard, Honorable
What you do, Honorable Tongay, I know you are not the minister, so you may not have ready answers.
Yes, true.
You go back and bring responses to these very serious allegations that the money is sent to schools from the ministry. Then the schools are instructed to send some of the money to education offices in the counties, to KEPSHA, and so on and so forth. KEPSHA is not an association of students, so they have no business taxing students. It's an association of teachers, and so on and so forth. I think we all know what goes on in the education sector. And you can see how many of your colleagues are agitating to ask questions on this. I'll give another 2, then we go to something else. You'll extract the order paper, share with the ministry, and ask for additional information which you can bring to the House in another 2 weeks. Ngogoyo. Ngogoyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is on the NEMIS, Mr. Speaker. Mheshimiwa Mwenje raised the Honorable Mwenje raised the issue of deregistration, which she has not answered. In the answer, can she provide the issue of...
Tongei, these questions are being asked to you.
The issue of upgrading the system, Mr. Speaker, in my constituency, most of the schools are about 4,000, 5,000, and 3,000. Majority of those schools in the NEMIS are registered 1,800 students. And we have raised the issue of deregistration of people who are already in the NEMIS, and in your answer, you did not provide. I want to request you, Mr. Speaker, can she provide, after the supplementary 2, where we provided 100 million, and the minister himself said you no longer need a birth certificate to register a child in NEMIS, why is it that they do not deliver 100% of the monies for students in a school, while it is in their statements that you have 3,000 students in a particular school? And I'll give you Ngata Rongai Primary. It has 4,200. Up to date, they receive capitation for 1,200 students. Mr. Speaker, I would want to know what's the problem with the NEMIS, which we have provided resources. And
Yes.
thank you very much, Owen Bayer, for listening to the ground.
Yes, Honorable Gachagua. Kerema, sorry. Yes, you and the member from Ndaragwa look alike.
No. Speaker, I cannot be Wamunyoro in any sense. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It's very unfortunate on what we are discussing about, Honorable Speaker, as pertains to the children whom we have mainly in our primary schools. For when you are driving along a certain primary school in your constituency and you find very young children going home, and when you ask why, you are told is that they have been sent away from school to go and collect some levies which are unconstitutional levies as pertains to the Minister of Education. Speaker, if you look at it, we have directors of education in our sub-counties. We have TSC directors. These two are duplicating work for one another. And if you look at it very well, the Ministry of Education, at the time they are sending the directors at the sub-counties, they should cater for them of how they are going to survive and how they are going to manage their own affairs without necessarily per se asking the primary schools or the heads of the schools for money, that little money which they are sent as capitation money. But if you look at it, is that the money is demanded for all activities for the ministry, which is very unfair, because you will find that a kid is sent home to go and collect some levies, which you cannot find it within the Act of Education 4. It is provided that education is free, basic education is free. We are in a problem whereby the government agreed to have free education, and we are unable to meet that obligation of free education. So I'm praying, Honorable Speaker, that in the duplication of work, which we have created parallel bodies, which are embargoed, be looked upon so that at least we can have children having a free atmosphere of learning. Speaker, if it's a secondary school, if it's a principal who has sent a secondary school student home, as an MP, you can be able to raise up your phone, call the principal, tell him that bursary is coming, only the student at school.
Yes.
But when it comes to primary school, we cannot even give them bursaries. It's a big problem.
Point made, Honorable Tongei. 2 weeks, you bring additional information, and those with issues, you will follow up there. Honorable Joseph Tonui's request, Chair Housing, Planning, Works and Urban. Manduku. I thought the chair is Johanna Ngeno.
Mr. Speaker, I'm answering on behalf of the chair.
Go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A request for the funding of the Olengoroni Stadium was made in the year 2011. The procurement process was complete, and on the 12th of November 2012, a contract was executed between the then Office of the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Local Government and Twin Construction Company at the quoted tender sum of 290,643,668.93 for a period of 24 months, with the intended date of completion being 20th November 2014. The scope of works entailed the construction of a perimeter fence, boundary wall, retaining walls, soccer pitch, 4-number public dais, pavilions, driveways, parking bays, ablution blocks, and other facilities. The above works were supposed to be delivered within the prescribed contract period, with the assumption that both parties were to be diligent in exercising their respective contractual obligations. However, this was not the scenario, because over the entire implementation phase, there were delays by payment. In fact, certificate number 1 was delayed for more than 1.5 years, while certificate number 2 was delayed for another half a year. The above delay was in contravention of clause 23.3 of the conditions of the contract that stipulated, and I quote, "The employer shall pay the contractor the amount certified by the project manager within 30 days of issuance of each certificate." The payment delays were mainly occasioned by 1, lack of exchequer support,